Hey everybody, it's On Screen, Off Screen, the show where we talk about movies, books, podcasts, all those good things, and we share them with you. Hopefully we can find something that will uplift your life. I've got Josh here and myself. Lauren is out still camping, still having a good time. We are going to start with Josh's topic. What do we got?
All right, so my first topic is The Roses. This is a 2025 film. Came onto my radar via TikTok. It was a Netflix ad, um, followed by it popped up again. Somebody was talking about how good this movie was. Let's see. This stars Benedict Cumberbatch. He's in it. Um, Andy Samberg is in it. Allison Janney is in it. Our main love interest is Olivia Coleman. I know her from a couple of things, not super big, but it is a Hulu movie. And the basic thought process with this is they want to make a rom com that is about real um, romance, about how, you know, it's called The Roses because roses have thorns, and just like real relationships, you get pricked sometimes. That is the general idea that they were trying to tackle. This has a 6.6 on IMDb, a 64% Rotten Tomato score, and a 79% on Tomato Meter. Um,
Wow.
so audiences generally like this pretty well. This is the worst Benedict Cumberbatch movie I have ever seen. This is the worst Andy Samberg movie I have ever seen. This is the worst movie I have ever seen. This movie sucks, but it is so horrible. Uh, I get what they
This
were.
is worse than The Last Jedi.
Yes, critically speaking, it is worse. Did Is there more emotion behind the Last Jedi? Is it going to receive a negative score? No,
Okay.
but when they're trying to represent that, like, these romances are real, they're not perfect, you have conflict, but the love interest, the female, only shows any good moments when she is sucking the life out of Benedict Cumberbatch, is being incredibly selfish and having nothing to do with her family, or is gotten one over on him. And then
So
she
she sucks.
comes to him and she's like, "You stole my kids away from me." Like, the basic premise is like he's an architect, engineer person. He designs a building. There's
Okay.
a storm. The building collapses. He loses his job. He loses all notoriety. And so
Mhm.
she starts pursuing her dream of becoming a chef. And she gets really successful at it. And so he decides, okay, I'm going to take a step back. You know, I had my moment in the sun. I kind of screwed it up. I don't want to start from the very bottom again, but I'll start raising the kids. So he starts raising the kids, and then, like, they have two kids, a boy and a girl. The girl gets her first period, and the mom finds out about it way after the fact because she called dad, and dad took care of it, and dad did a really good job, Benedict Cumberbatch. And she sits there and she goes, "How dare you be the reason she didn't call me?" So she's just super selfish, super overly critical of him. She only smiles in the movie when she is being a chef, being successful, being praised. Uh, and anytime that they're together, she is unhappy and he is fighting to make it work. kind of mentality. And like he has some good things and then does it. And so it's like, it's not a real relationship. This is toxic. This is horrible. This is putting up with each other. This is not having a romantic relationship with each other. There's even a scene where they, everything kind of is building up, coming to an end, and he, because she becomes successful as a chef, he gets the chance to design them a home. So
Okay.
he builds a dream home. They market it. He gets his, reputation back a little bit because of how phenomenal this home is. And in the grand opening of this home, they invite their closest friends over to see the home, check out the home, celebrate this accomplishment. And they get into a fight during it. And it gets to the point where he's like, God forbid I want some positive attention and some recognition for the hard work I put into this. And he's like, what is so wrong with wanting to be loved, wanting to be held, wanting to be appreciated for the work that I did? Why
Hmm.
why can't you do that? And she says, because you want it. I won't do it
Like,
because
that
you
was her
want it.
like
Yep.
quote line.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's just like this horrible relationship. It's not real at all because real relationships have good things together. There's bonding moments, even in like the worst of fights or whatever. There are times where couples come together. There are times when you bond because of your kids or you go to the same event or whatever. But these two people, they don't care. They cause a fight at this party. She throws cake at the guests. She goes insane. Um, he is never appreciative of her and anything that she's doing. Neither of them can communicate with each other in any positive aspect about anything real at all. And then it gets to the end of the movie and they decide that they're going to get divorced. They start fighting. They decide, I'm not leaving. They're fighting over the house. And so they decide, I'm going to stay in the house and make the other person so miserable that they'll sign over the papers. Can you guess, Conlon, how this movie ends?
I'm guessing she gets the house.
Nope.
They burn down the house.
Close. Surprisingly close. They get to the end, they're fighting, they literally try and kill each other. She has an allergy. He tricks her into an allergy and says, I will stab you with this EpiPen when you sign over the house.
Whoa.
She signs Zendaya's name. He stabs her. She goes and gets a gun and starts shooting it in his direction. He starts breaking everything in the house that she cares about, which is pretty much just an oven that some whatever,
Mm-hmm.
which then starts spewing gas into the house. And they decide, you know what? We've been ridiculous. We should make up. We love each other. We should stay together. And then he ignites the fireplace. And that's how the movie ends. They blow up. That's how it ends. Their kids are now orphans.
That is so stupid.
It
That
is
is such a
so,
dumb movie.
so stupid. So ridiculous. I don't get what anybody sees good in this movie. I'm looking at it right now. The synopsis is, life seems easy for picture perfect couple Theo and Ivy. Successful careers, loving marriage, great kids. What loving marriage? What perfect couple? Like, they have these friends that they talk to, which is Andy Samberg and some chick that keeps on hitting on him, like Benedict Cumberbatch, even though she's in a relationship with Andy Samberg. And it's super weird and uncomfortable. and they keep coming to these couple, and they're like, it's really hard, I don't know if this is like what it's meant to be, and they keep being like, no, you guys are perfect, keep going. So they keep going, and it gets worse and worse and worse, and it's I hated this movie. This is a dumb, dumb, dumb movie. If somebody has something positive to say about this movie, I would love to hear it, because I genuinely don't think there is. I don't think it's any
You
of
have
the actors'
nothing. You
best
don't have
performances. I don't think the
one.
music is particularly good. I don't think the dream house is that cool. It is a dream house, so there are some cool elements to it. But like, would I would it be anything like my dream house would look like? No, not at all. Um, I genuinely have nothing positive to say about this. Like, the best thing in this movie is like a 4 or 5 out of 10 kind of thing. Like, the music itself is not particularly bad. The performances are not particularly bad. But is it
But they're
good?
not good.
No. Yeah. This is a crap movie. Nobody should ever watch this movie. I'm giving
It
it
sounds
a
pretty
0
freaking
out of
terrible.
10.
0 out of 10. Will it be on your
Yeah.
worst movie? Like, will it be number one worst movie?
No, because
Okay.
other movies have emotional weight, right? The Last
Okay.
Jedi, Rise of Skywalker, because they're Star Wars, because they're in that universe, because they have characters I actually care about, those have more weight. But like, even with The Last Jedi, I can sit there and be like, it's a pretty looking movie. They did a really good job with the soundtrack.
Mm. But this
But yeah,
one was like nothing.
yeah, nothing good. I will forget about this movie. Somebody may bring it up and be like, "Hey, have you ever seen this movie?" And I'll be like, "I don't know. Oh, this terrible piece of garbage. Yes, I have seen this movie." I think this is going to be completely forgotten to time. This is going to be nobody's favorite movie. It's not going to get a cult following.
It's just garbage.
It sucks. It's dumb. Complete waste. And it's not even that long. It's like an hour and a half.
I will not watch this. That's too bad. Benedict Cumberbatch is the man.
That's one of the reasons I watched it. It was like, yeah, give this show a shot. I like him. I've never seen anything he's in that I hate until now. Um, so yeah, just nobody watched this movie.
Deal. Yeah, I've never even heard of this before right now. I've never seen this. Didn't even know this was a thing. And it's
Yep,
based on a novel. Usually that makes things better.
it's not a novel
That
I would read.
sucks.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's too bad. No, 0. That is a solid 0. Don't watch it, guys. I'm gonna go through. I haven't got two different topics. I should have had Josh go through first, or should have had Josh go second. Um, this is Why We Lied is a book that I want to love. I really do. It's by Karin, and I read this entire book and then looked it up after and realized that this was book 12 of, of a 12-part series. I didn't realize that. I actually don't think you have to read the earlier books because I felt like I got the characters. I felt like I knew what was going on. It is a whodunit mystery. You have this guy named Will Tennant and his fiancee Sarah that are going up into this cabin. Will was an orphan when he was growing up, and because he didn't want to talk in front of people, he never got to go on the yearly camping trip in the boys' home. Basically, is what he was growing up in, and he couldn't go on this yearly camping trip, so he decides that he's going to do the honeymoon at this cabin in the woods with his new fiance, new wife Sarah. They get up there, and one of his old boys' home roommates, who made fun of him, was kind of his bully, lives there at the camp. And this family has got a twisted, terrible life. You have the girl who eventually gets murdered with the whodunit, who she went to jail and her life kind of fell apart. She was into drugs, she was into partying, but she built her life back together, and she's literally made the camp more financially profitable. They're getting better guests in, they're rebuilding and making the facilities nicer. And the family decides that they're going to sell the entire lot of land to some developers. And she blackmails everybody that it's going to stop and that she will not let this go through, or she's taking everybody down. And they're embezzling money. She knows all of these different secrets and she's going to stop it. And the writing is really, really good. Like, genuinely one of the better whodunits that I've read. And the best one outside of Agatha Christie, easily. And I do really, really like the first 75% of this book. Normally, when I say something like that, it's, oh, the ending must really suck, right? The ending doesn't suck. The ending is actually quite good. But you find out that during the entire story, the guy who makes fun of Will, who is very, very poised to be the killer, is so obvious, like, you know it's not him. But he mentions how he was abused as a child over and over and over again. And it's hinting to who the actual killer is. The actual killer is this girl's son, who is getting sexually abused and groomed by his grandma. And they go into more detail than they should for a subject matter that is so uncomfortable. And I'm not going to say it's not well written. I'm not going to say it's not good. I actually looked up the behaviors of child abuse victims and grooming. They take it to a higher extent than is realistic in this book, but there are times where the child will protect the groomer, especially if it's a family member, someone that they trust, because they're the only ones that care about them. They're the only ones that love them. And it's a disgusting, very sad topic to get into that I personally did not enjoy. So while I can appreciate that this is a very well-written whodunit, I wasn't completely sure who did it until the very end. It makes sense who did it. All the clues are there. They line up. I didn't get it till it was actually revealed because it was so repulsive that I wouldn't have even thought of the idea. Like, it didn't even cross my mind that this could be the actual story of where they were going, because I didn't even want to think about that. Which is a shame because it is extremely well written. I want to read the rest of the series because I think Karin does a very good job and is very accomplished with what she decided to put together. But I can't recommend this to everybody because it was just so off-putting to me, unfortunately. Because I literally, at 70% of the book, I was going to be like, I'm telling Josh to read this. I'm telling Josh to read this right now. I just can't. Unfortunately. I'm not going to rate this one because the writing is really good. I actually don't really want to rate it. And I am conflicted about reading the rest of the series because of that. My other topic, which is a much happier note, and kind of ironic considering all the rumors behind him, but Michael, the Michael movie. It doesn't get into the after part of his life and the controversy that could or could not be true. They're working on a second movie, which I'm assuming will get into some of that. This movie is done by his son. His son was one of the main producers on it. So you get a lot of the best sides of Michael. You get the best part of his story. And because of that, there is some, not dishonesty, but framing in a way that this is the best version of this character. I loved this movie. The music is fantastic. Michael is played by his nephew, and his nephew looks exactly like him. He had the moves completely down. He has the voice 100% down. I was very impressed. I highly recommend that everybody watches this movie because it's worth your time. It starts with him as a small kid, and his dad just is kind of embittered that he has to be a coal he has to be a still worker, and like he feels like he doesn't have any other options in life, so he's going to push his kids so his kids don't have to be poor black people, they can be successful. And he pushes them to sing and rehearse deep into the night, and they're getting so tired. They fall asleep in school. They fall asleep wherever they possibly can, because up until 1 o'clock in the morning, they're singing songs and they're rehearsing and they're trying to get better and better and better with the Jackson Five. I liked Jackson's Five music. I have since I was a kid. I think that it is really, really good. And it was cool to see the pressure that Michael was under to just try to perform for his dad, but never quite be enough. It's one of those kinds of stories. But then Michael is special, and everyone starts to see that Michael is special. He gets recording labels that really want to be able to talk to him. He's this 10-year-old kid who has this voice of an angel, and Michael becomes the star. So his brothers and his father and his mother were living in poverty. Michael has to sing, he has to perform to take care of everybody. And the dad doesn't let him just be a kid. The dad doesn't just let him live and be happy. He pushes him harder and harder and harder. And every single time he wants to back out and do his own thing, the dad goes, if you don't do this, we won't have anything. You see this big house? We won't have it. We won't have anything. You need to do it. And I'm just gonna tell the record label that you're gonna go on another tour. And he's during the entire movie trying to break off and become his own man and do his own thing. But he can't, because his family just keeps expecting more and more and more and more from him. Um, and he does a really good job of having you feel that pain and that pressure. He never gets whiny about it. He just kind of takes it stoically. But he's like, I just want to be free. When he has these moments of quietness, he's like, I have to be free. And he keeps looking at this page of Peter Pan, where Peter Pan is jumping into the sky and he's off to Neverland and he's finally free. And he looks at that page over and over again. And they don't say a word about it. They don't do an exposition dump, but you can just tell he wants to be Peter Pan. He wants to be free. The music is really good. The dancing is incredible. I didn't know this, but the song "Beat It," he literally got he was watching the news, and there was a stabbing or a shooting between the Crips and the Bloods, and that's where the song started to come together. So he has his manager bring the Crips and the Bloods to a set, and they're the backup dancers for the music video "Beat It," which is crazy. That's so cool. You got two like rival enemies, red and blue, which I find funny because we're in Utah, but to be in a room and to do a music video together, a music video that is still famous to this day. If Michael is really the person that's described here, which I think he probably was, he was just a kind, loving person who wanted to make some music and wanted to take care of his family, and that was about it. He didn't want all the pressure, he didn't want anything else. He wanted to love people. And I think that we should give more people the chance to just do that. This movie didn't have any sexual exploits. He didn't do any of that in this part of his life. It was very wholesome. The biggest contention was with his father and trying to break free and become his own man. It was a wholesome, enjoyable, very funny, witty, creative movie that I genuinely think anyone would have a good time with. I'm going to give this one like an 8.6. I was very impressed. It was better than I thought it was going to be.
Good.
Yeah.
Do you think that they've over embellished or been a little revisionist in it, or do you actually feel like it was genuine?
So I haven't dug into it too deeply. I did watch some documentary style exploits, and from what I can tell, mostly this is a movie that's colored to make him look good, but not a movie that's dishonest with making him look good. If that makes sense. The parts of his life that are a little bit more questionable seem to happen after this movie ends, and I'm very interested in how the son is going to portray his father at the part of his life where it becomes a little bit more questionable. As far as this movie goes, extremely wholesome and pretty authentic.
Well,
Yeah.
good.
I didn't I didn't know this either, but apparently he had a ton of animals. So he had a giraffe that would just like eat leaves outside of his window. He had a monkey. He had a snake. He had just a bunch of animals. He had a llama. Um, I think that's pretty cool. And he just rescued all these animals from bad situations and just tried to care for them. It seems like he was a. It seems like he was a really unique person.
He for sure was. He's definitely one of the more relevant characters in our lives.
Mhm.
Still very reference heavy person. Um, did he mean anything to you personally?
I love his music. I have since I was a kid. When I test speakers, I Billie Jean is one of the three songs that I test when I get a new pair of headphones or I get new speak whatever it is. I test Billie Jean because I think the music is so well put together. Um, the basses have different frequency responses that you can really hear with a good pair of earphones. It has a very good sound stage that is very wide, and the highs are crisp and beautiful. And like if you get good headphones, they snap. Where other headphones, it feels kind of drawn out and weak.
Okay.
It's I think his music was great. I've liked it for a really long time. My dad's not a fan, and I don't know. I know some of the controversies about him. I don't really care. I think his music was great. I think he was a great artist, and maybe that's coloring my view a little bit. I don't know.
That's
As
totally
far as yeah, yeah, I just appreciate what he was able to create. Um, yeah,
yeah. For me, I think his music is really hit and miss. I actually think Billie Jean is his most overrated song ever. Uh,
really.
like people go to that and be like, "Isn't this just like one of the top songs of existence?" And I'm like, "No, it's like pretty good Michael, but it's not even the best of Michael." Like,
What's
um,
your favorite Michael Jackson song?
mine is ABC by the Jackson Five.
Oh, okay.
That's the one I grew up on, right? That's one that like I grew up in the MP3 era and I had a handful of different MP3s, but like when you're maxed out at 200 songs or 100 songs or whatever, ABC was on every single one of my MP3s. Um,
That's
and
awesome.
like, I like Michael Jackson. I think he has some really good music. I think he's been a phenomenal performer. Um, I remember the day he died.
Me too.
I came into school, it was when I was in elementary school, and I walked into, I think it was my fourth grade class, and there was a group of kids just crying, just absolutely weeping.
That's
And I
crazy to
was
me.
like, what's going on? And they were like, Michael Jackson died. And I was like, did you know him? I could not have cared less, but I do remember it because, like, everybody had such a very big reaction to it. So he's very an important person in people's lives. Still is to this day. He's still referenced. He's definitely one of the best performers of all time. Definitely one of the biggest stars of all time. Uh, he absolutely deserves King of Pop.
Do you think he or Elvis are actually bigger, more impactful?
Elvis.
Okay.
And I don't like very many Elvis songs.
Okay.
But
Tell
like
me why.
Elvis kicked off a genre,
Okay.
right? And I'm not the biggest music person. We've talked about this. Like music is something I do when I don't have something else. I'm not the biggest music lover. Uh, but Elvis inspired your favorite band. We would not have your favorite band without Elvis.
Without Elvis.
Um, he changed how people look at people. He changed how people look at music. He changed how things were culturally. Like you can actually see in American history the change as he became famous. in how people dressed, how people danced, how they talked, how they influenced music, whatever, right? With Michael Jackson, he built upon that, right? He like
Yeah, you
pop
wouldn't
was a
have the
thing for a while, but it wasn't as big. So he took something existing and made it really cool. Elvis basically invented rock, right? Pre Elvis, we had jazz, and that was the closest thing we had. And not to say he was the first person to do it or the best person to do it. I'm not
yeah,
the
because he
biggest
basically
historian with it, but like,
brought it to white America because it was a black America kind of a thing at the time.
well, it was built off of jazz, right? I would still qualify everything I know of from before as jazz, and he is the first rock, right? Um, I'm sure he had there's some rock-ish stuff that he built his sound on and all that kind of stuff. Like I said, I'm not too. I love history, but that's music history is not my biggest forte. Um, but yeah, it's just like Elvis died, and it's a big like he's not dead even to this day. You know, conspiracy theories. Uh, you have like Elvis museums, you have Elvis tours, you have Elvis this, that, and the other. You know, Elvis impersonators to do weddings in Vegas, and you just don't have that for Michael. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think tons of respect for Michael, but I think that at the same time, I think very clearly you have a king of rock, and it's Elvis, and you have a king of pop, and it's Michael. But you can make an argument for Taylor Swift, and
That's
so
fair.
there's competition in the space, I guess is how I would put that. And it's no disrespect to either one of these. They're both fantastic performers. They're both iconic. They did what they did, like Willie Nelson did for country, or um, tons of other things. Like they are the kings of their genres, for sure, in my book. But like if I had to pick one that was bigger culturally or impactful or bigger, I just like Elvis is like another tier. He's just so, and like if I had to choose between Michael and Elvis music, Michael music all day. Elvis has like one good song, like, uh, but when I don't care so much about music, it's hard just to ignore how much bigger the Elvis brand is.
So, everybody watching, I've asked this question to so many people this week, and me and Josh can be on the same side every once in a while because I have defended that Elvis is bigger, even though I like Michael way better all week, all week long, because I have never seen a Japanese Michael Jackson impersonator. I have seen a ton of of like Mike of Elvis impersonators from all over the world.
Yeah, Korean Elvis in How I Met Your Mother, one of our
Yeah,
all-time favorite shows.
yeah,
Uh, yeah, and it doesn't help that Michael's more recent and has the big controversy, right? None of that
yes.
helps his brand either. Um, but
With Michael, I think he's like the birth of modern pop
yeah,
because you have like the boy bands dancing. That is Michael invented all of that. I think there was music videos before Michael, but really Michael is the man who started music videos really being a thing, which is huge. Like those are some big credits for Michael, but it's just not Elvis.
yeah, I agree.
And I like the Elvis movie too, but this one was better. This was a better movie. Um Anyway, guys, I'm gonna go on to my next topic, or yes, I'm gonna go on to our shared topic is what I'm gonna
Nope,
go on to.
nope. I've got another topic.
Oh, you do? Okay, cool.
Yeah. So this is a topic that I talked to Colin a little bit. I alluded to, but I wanted to keep it to myself for as long as I could, because I genuinely think that this is going to be an all-time book for Conlon.
Okay,
I'm going to air my cautions. So,
okay,
my two cautions are It's not the fastest paced book. It is a slower burn book. Um, Generally speaking, I feel like you like the bigger, faster, dungeon crawler Carl. Something's always happening. Primal Hunter, he's always
Normally, yeah.
building to something uh, that is a caution for me. My second caution, this is a caution for myself. I don't know how much it impacts you, but it is an impact on
Mhm.
me. And that is we're following four timelines at the same time. And
Okay.
there is no communication as to switching around. So I,
Four,
with
four.
ADHD, kind of sometimes get lost.
Okay. Is it four timelines or four character POVs?
Four timelines.
Okay. With different characters or same character?
Same character, different side characters. So the
Okay.
book that I'm talking about is called Empire of the Vampire by J. Christoph. Uh, the basic premise of this book is the world is covered in darkness and we are living in the empire of the vampire. And we are following, if you look at my little nickname, it is Gabriel in France. There's a lot of French characters. I feel like you're really going to like that based on your recent
Well,
love for that game, Expedition, and
33.
yeah, French art and French culture and all that kind of stuff seems to be a thing for you right now. So there's lot of very French sounding names, lot of French sounding times, whatever. Anyway, Gabriel, our main character, is a pale blood or a half vampire,
Okay.
and he is being interviewed by the emperor's journalist, who is human, and he has been tasked with finding out the story. Basically, Gabriel knows that his time has come. He's been caught. He's not going to survive. And so this journalist has been tasked with finding out everything he can about Gabriel's life. So this half vampire, half human, and his quest for the Holy Grail. And we jump between timelines from when he was younger, him trying to figure out who his parents were, to him being trained up, to him joining the fight and the quest for the Holy Grail, to him becoming the most successful vampire killer of all time.
That's six. So we've got like Interview with the Vampire, Blade, awesome world building for fantasy epicness, and freaking vampires. That sounds great.
Yes. There's tons of humor in it. There's tons of really cool plot
Hmm.
points. There's tons of really cool things. There's one where there's a Mulan moment where we revealed one of the characters was a girl from the beginning by,
Okay.
the scene in the tent, like, oh, she has boobs, right?
Yeah.
And the Gabriel is telling this story and is interrupted by the interviewer by saying, and you found out she finally has boobs. And then we listened to 2 minutes of the interviewer making fun of Gabriel for not having known. So there's a lot of humor in it, um, but that's where it ties into there's a lot of switching around, and it doesn't give you a warning or a break because the interviewer is an interviewer and he's asking questions. So we go along and we're like, okay, how did you know this character? So then we jump back and we learn how Gabriel met that character. Okay, so you killed this vampire. How did you learn that skill? How did that go? Okay, so now we're going to talk about this build up to this character. Uh, and there's no breaks, there's no differences. So, like for me, ADHD, getting distracted very easily, will be like, wait, how did I get here? Who's talking now? Totally a thing in this book for me. I don't know if that's a thing for you, but I do think it's worth being said. But this book is well written. It's about vampires. You get fantasy coolness. You get really good fights. You get a lot of
Do you feel like
humor.
it has a good horror aspect to it too? Like a
I haven't gotten into any horror scenes. I am
okay.
2/3 the way through, so I still have the last little chunk to go, but it is a longer audiobook to listen to. But I am
Okay. So
still
it is more like
really liking it.
it's more Blade actiony vampire badassery.
Yes. So
Okay.
Gabriel is on the hunt for the Holy Grail. We are just following along him telling the story about how he found the Holy Grail. We learn in the very beginning that the Holy Grail exists, it is a real thing, and it has been destroyed. We also know
Okay.
that it is the hope to kill and take down this empire of vampires. Um, and then on
That
top of
sounds
that,
sick.
I have just been so inspired by this book. Um, I'm a big fan of D&D, and while
Mhm.
I've been listening to this book, I was like, I want to run a campaign. And I have this idea where you have one or you have two sets of characters for this group, right? And you separate it. You
Okay.
say, I just have two campaigns I want to run, totally different worlds, whatever. And in one
Mhm.
world, you have an Empire of the Vampire. And you tell the story of these characters who, and their quest to take down the vampire kingdom. And then we have the second group, which takes place years later, and we see the fallout from this war between
Mhm.
men and vampires. And like, I have this idea that the vampires get this culture of tattooing themselves with silver and dead man's blood from the time they're born. And it's because this
That's
other
cool.
group took them down, didn't want to kill the innocent vampires. So they made them be tattooed, and then it became a cultural thing for them where they started to do it like, oh, you're born, you do it. And we see in the second campaign, the one that's later on, we have the first vampire born, you know, away from this culture, so they're not tattooed. And so they get to be a full fledged, powerful vampire to kind of fight against this human threat that has completely swung the shift. And then we kind of learn, I've been floating with the idea that, like, because they've been tattooed for so long with this stuff, they've also built up a resiliency to silver and dead man's blood. So it's not as effective as it used to be. And then you have the group come together and you have them play their old characters as old people and their new characters as them as they built it up, and you tie it in together at that point to go into like a
That
final
would be sick.
thing. I don't know how it would work because vampires live a lot longer, so like maybe not their old characters, but like their old characters, great grandchildren or something like that. I don't know, but the fact that I'm
That
being
would be cool.
inspired by this book, I think speaks a lot because that doesn't happen a lot.
When was the last time you read, watched something you're like, I just have to do a campaign? Kind of similar to this.
I mean, like, I don't know. It's probably been a few months. I don't know what it is, but there are times where I'll send Lauren a text that's like, "Hey, I have an idea for this." Um,
Okay.
and my last one was a session zero where you gamble. You do a point buy system for your characters, but you can gamble points.
Gamble points.
Yeah. So, like, let's say you want to start out with an above average intelligent person, but you need a few more
Hmm.
points. So we play the pirate dice game.
Okay.
And if you win points from me, the DM.
Wow.
And if you
That's
lose,
cool.
you have to sacrifice points somewhere else. And then it wouldn't be like a super long campaign, but a few sessions, and it would be a pirate campaign.
That
And
is cool.
that was my last idea before this one. But like, I'm really excited about this one. Too bad it'll never happen, but it would be cool. I feel like. Um, but
You
yeah,
should do it.
I don't know. Anyway, uh, that's where I'm at right now. I don't want to give any big plot points away. It is a slower book, so I don't think it's going to be for everyone. But this came on my radar because suddenly, 3 weeks ago, there was like 10 TikToks, and it was all people being like, if you like Red Rising, you'll like these books. And I was
Okay.
like, the Red Rising and vampires gonna be a combo
Perfect.
book. I want to get there first so that
100%.
I could be the person. And Yeah, I really, really like it. Right now, for me, it's like an 8.5. Um,
Okay, cool.
for you, like I have those cautionary things, like maybe some things won't work as well for you. But I feel like
Mhm.
if you get into this book, you're going to come out of it and be like, top 10, easy.
I'm so excited. I just went on Libby and was like, okay, I'm just getting this right now. And unfortunately, I'm 230th in line. But I will at some point read this book. It must be popular because like
It must have gotten popular at the same
230.
time for me because, like, never heard of this book. It's not new. There are 3 books in this series out so far.
Yeah.
And then it just showed up. A bunch of people have been talking about it. I have a book friend that I talk books with all the time. And I was like, I started listening to this book, and she was literally like, I was about to tell you to start reading this book. Like, I've been saving it for
Wow.
when you finished this other series. Um,
The algorithm was just like, boom. AI overlords, gods, bless this book.
yeah, I guess so. So it's really, really, it's really good so far. Like I said, I'm not done with the first book yet.
Cool.
So caution,
I'm
caution. But that's where I'm
I'm
at right now.
on Goodreads right now, and I'm pretty like it's got a 4.33, and Goodreads is usually they're rougher with books. It's got a 4.33 with 88,000 reviews,
I don't
and
trust
the
book
next books are
reviews.
even higher. Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
Why?
if you talk to book people, like I see it on TikTok, and somebody's like, sometimes I give this book 5 stars because I like the author. Sometimes I give a book five
Oh,
stars because even though I didn't like it, I felt like the writing was pretty solid. And sometimes I give this book 5 stars because I really, really liked it. But then I go back at my ratings and I'm like, what is this book even about? I don't know. So I'm like, okay, you
the
people
only
doing
time I've
reviews is just so willy nilly. It's so less structured. I don't trust it, and I don't trust like any reviews, but like particularly book reviews. It's like I gave it 5 stars because I finished this book. Okay, okay.
good for you. I don't remember what it was called. I literally forgot because I thought this book was so dumb. But it got rated super well. It's the only time I've come across this. And it sounded interesting to me. Basically, they took like African lore and put it into a fantasy setting, which is very different part of the world. I liked that idea. I thought that was cool. But then I was reading the reviews. It's like, isn't it just so great to see black people writing books? And I was like, you guys all suck. This book sucks. This book feels like it was written by a third grader. I don't care if they were a black person writing about their culture. If it's a sucky book, it's a sucky book, and this is a sucky book.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I don't trust ratings, reviews, whatever. For me, it's all just what is the book about? Is it interesting to me? So this one is interesting to me. I like it a lot so far.
Yeah, cool. I will definitely check it out. It's gonna be weeks, but I will listen to it. With that, let's go to our shared topics. I'll go first with 8 seconds. I used to love this movie, like love this movie, and I still enjoyed what I watched, but I didn't love it. Basic story is it's based on a true story. You have a cowboy who was famous for being one of the best bull riders in the history of bull riding, and it's his story. He starts off as a good kid. Weirdly enough, it's a lot like Michael, where he's a son who wants to have his father love him, but he's never enough, kind of a story. And his drive to just be better and better and better makes him angry and makes him start being a jerk where he doesn't treat his wife well. He cheats on his wife. Um, his wife eventually cheats on him, and the relationship just isn't very good. And then he keeps pushing and pushing to try to be perfect until at the very end of the movie, a bull squishes him and he dies. And I think in the time since I've last watched this, which has been a probably a decade, um, I've just changed a lot. It was a weird experience watching this movie in particular again because I did like it as much as I did. And the cheating really bugged me. And I know that it's a real story, but I didn't enjoy that. I didn't want to root for this guy. It kind of made me sad that he became what he became and that he died pretty much still being that person. I know he tried. He pretty much is still that person. Um, and that he never could just let himself be enough or connect with his wife and let his wife support him. I know sometimes you don't need to have the rosy story. Nothing has to be perfect. I do like some grimdark stuff. I just didn't enjoy this as much as I remembered. The bull riding itself, I remembered being a lot more crisp in its filming than it was. I'm being harsh on this because I'm comparing it to when I loved it. I still think this is a good quality film. I think the acting is good, but where I would have given this a high 8, I am going to drop it all the way to like a 7.2. I don't know when I will watch this again. Still probably would recommend it to people who are familiar with bull riding or country setting. If you aren't from that setting, I don't know if I would actually recommend this, which is a shame because I would have before. What was your general thoughts of it coming fresh?
So coming fresh, I have one criticism, like
Okay.
big criticism, and that is that the bull riding looks terrible.
Yeah,
It looks
it's rough.
awful. And that's coming from 2026. So, like, is it fair for the time? No, it's not fair. When it came out, I'm sure it looked pretty good. I wouldn't say it was like an awe amazing, like, oh, look at how incredible this movie looks, but like, I'm sure it wasn't particularly bad in comparison. When did it actually come out? I don't know.
I want to say like early 2000s. I'm
1994.
not positive. That old. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that's I guess that it's above average a little bit in how it looks in those computer generated sequences. Uh, Other than that, it's very hallmarky. Everything
It is. It's more
follows
cheesy
the
than I remember.
line. It's a lot cheesy. Is it bad Hallmark? No. But like, was I surprised by any of the events? No.
No.
Um, you know, I
Even the him dying at the end wasn't
yeah,
surprising to you at all.
no.
Okay.
Because they basically tell you pretty early on that something happens, and it's like, okay,
Hmm.
yeah. Um, so yeah, if you, it's a perfectly fine formulaic Hallmark movie. That's what I gotta say. Is it's an above average Hallmark movie. Just like when it came out, it was a slightly above average CG film with the very limited CG that they used. Some of the actors are pretty good. Uh, I was going through reviews for this, and boy, oh boy, was I disappointed. Uh,
Okay.
because everything about the plot was it's fine. Everything else, there are thousands and thousands of reviews about how I grew up watching this because my mom just loved Luke Perry, or Luke Perry is just so gosh darn handsome. I'm like, that is not a reason to watch a movie. But apparently, this has this little cult of like children who are raised on this movie because their moms really liked Luke Perry, and there's just tons of reviews about it. And I'm like, okay, I, all right, I guess, whatever. But okay, but yeah. So I'm giving it a 6.8. Um,
Okay.
am I gonna rewatch this? No. Would I rewatch this if Colin wanted to watch it, or somebody was like, "Let's watch this"? I'd be like, sure. This came up because last week we were speaking about. whatever that other bull riding movie was
Yeah.
called. And it's like, yeah, I enjoyed it. Probably a little less, but about the same as that one.
Okay. I like this one a little more, but very close.
Yeah.
They were both like enjoyable enough movies, which I was a little disappointed about this one, but it's okay. Sometimes you just got to realize that what you liked as a kid wasn't as good as you thought it was. But anyway, that's 8 seconds. I do think it is worth watching once if you're from that background. Um, and with that, let's go to our other movie, which I am much more excited to talk about. What do we got?
So our second shared topic is pressure. If you remember from our last record, this is the movie centered around D-Day in World War II and how important the weather forecasters were to the planning and execution of that day. Historically speaking, this gets a 9 out of 10. It is extremely accurate to what they did. Much of the story has been taken from, and some dialogue taken from firsthand accounts from diaries. The writing is straight from those things. The only reason it gives a 1 point knockoff for historical accuracy is the timeline is definitely condensed for a movie. A lot of those things did not happen as rapid fire as they make them seem, and
How long
the
did it actually take? Do
it
you know?
was weeks, right? They were building up to it for weeks, but the movie makes it feel like, oh, there was this new weather development, then there was this one, then there was this one, then there was this one,
Mm.
and it was like there was hours or days between those things. It wasn't as smashed together. And while our main two weather forecasters did disagree, were they rivals and hate each other? No, they were actually pretty good friends. Uh, they represented how they looked at weather completely the same. Um, how the sequence of events completely historically accurate. Um, they actually sequenced in real footage from D-Day in a way that was like they did a phenomenal job with that. There was only a couple of times where I was like, "Is that real footage?" But it looked so good, and it was indeed real footage, along with scenes I didn't even notice were real footage. Uh, my criticisms of this movie are it's not what I hoped it would be, and I wish
Okay.
it
How
could have
so?
been a little bit different. I thought it was going to be more focused on, I thought there was going to be two plots. I thought we were going to be talking about what it was talking about the weather and the ghost army setting up the fake invasion.
Hmm.
Right. One of the big reasons D Day was successful is because there was a big fake army setting up to go and attack where Germany thought that they would attack, which was miles away from where they actually landed in Normandy. And they alluded to it, right? We see our main General Eisenhower uh, looking at pictures and they talk briefly about it. But I would have loved a lot more details on the failed practice run that they talked about. I would have loved to know a little bit more about that ghost army that was going on. It did make me think about like, wow, this weather is super important to these wars and like how effective they can be, and like it's a small thing, but it's super super important. But at the same time, I kind of agree with the army dude that's like, it's just the weather, we go anyway, and sometimes you just have to have that mentality. So it's like a balance, like I just don't care about the weather. I recognize it's important. I recognize its importance. I recognize that this is extremely historically accurate. I recognize that all the actors did a really, really good job. I recognize that this movie looks phenomenal. But like, I love the Ghost Army. To me, is one of the most fascinating things of American history. And this is the
It's
first
disgusting.
taste we get of it, and it's like a side note in this movie. It is
Hmm.
losing out to the weatherman, the meteorologist talking about weather. And I'm like, but that's such a cool thing, and what they did with the history there, and like how they were like, we have these art majors, and they suck at fighting, but you know what they're good at? Art. So we're gonna have them build fake armies, and it's so cool. And yeah, uh, it's really really good. I really should watch this movie. It is utterly fascinating. It is definitely taking a look at, an area that we don't always get to look at or think about or appreciate. It is a Brendan Fraser movie in his uh, build back. I do think that like he was a little bit weak to be like the big scary general. Like when he walked into the room screaming at the um, main meteorologist guy. That was the one time I was like, oh, he had power in his voice. Um, some of the times he gets frustrated and angry, and I'm like, yeah, but you're Brendan Fraser. You're just such a lovable guy. um, but it's still really, really good. No plot, no acting, no writing is an issue. It's not bad. Just because it was not what I wanted it to be, does not mean it's bad. Everybody should watch this movie.
What's your rating?
8.2.
Okay. I thought genuinely that Josh might like this movie even more than I did, but he didn't, because I had to decide if Obsession or this was my movie of the year because I liked this as much as I like this movie. I think Obsession is still probably it, but this I didn't think anything was even going to come close. To be completely honest, I thought Obsession just had it in the bag. This is great. I'm a big fan of the Imitation Game. I'm a big fan of the Imitation Game. It has a similar kind of vibe, but in my opinion, this movie is better. I thought the idea of just like weather and weather affecting affecting ships going across the sea and affecting war was fascinating. I thought the way that they were dealing with the science of how they're figuring out the weather was so interesting. I think the shots of the air balloons going above the clouds are gorgeous, like absolutely beautiful. The shots of the storms are some of the best shots of a storm I have ever seen. Period. Hands down, fantastic. I thought Brandon Fraser actually was great. He was I don't know enough about Eisenhower to say what he was really like, but he felt like a contemplative leader who was willing to lead. And the moment where he says, um, if there is a mistake, if the men die, it's on me, was just one of the best moments for a leadership role that I have ever seen in a movie.
Real quote.
I
Real moment.
loved that's a real quote. I love that. It brought so much respect for the person of Eisenhower for me, because a lot of leaders would not do that, and it made me want to root for this guy. um I know this isn't in the movie, but they're they have this moment, and I love this scene where he's standing in front of everybody. This part was the movie. He's standing in front of everybody and he's like, why do I even give my presentation? You guys want these numbers to be correct, but if you go out, you're going to die. And the way that he delivered that, I was like, bravo, sir. That was Oscar worthy. Let's freaking go. I was so into a movie about the weather. Mind blowing. I loved it. I loved it. But he gets in front of everybody and he says, if you go out, you're going to die. And they say, do you stick by this? And he says, yes. And Eisenhower listens. He doesn't. He isn't. He's humble. I don't know the weather. You're the expert. I'm going to listen to you. I can see how much you believe it. I can see the facts. I might not understand all the facts, but I see it. And I'm going to be a leader, and I'm going to be great. and it made me want to be great. Like when we talk about movies that make you want to be great, we talk about the Bravehearts, we talk about this kind of a thing. This movie made me want to be a good leader. This movie made me want to care and take care of people. Made me want to listen. Made me want to be humble. When we're talking about movies that we present on this channel about being better, this movie presented that for me. Highly, highly recommend it. The part that wasn't in the movie, um, after this all goes down, they're sitting at church and it's sunny outside. And all of a sudden it starts raining. And Eisenhower goes outside, sees the scientist, and he just gives him a nod. It's really simple. But I love the idea that God has this part to play in our lives, and sometimes it rains, and it's not expected to rain. I know I'm getting religious and methodical on this, but sometimes it rains. And then they're looking at the weather and they see that there's an opening. And it's like God pushed a storm. He stopped a storm so there would be an opening and D Day could happen. And D Day is more effective because of this opening. I don't know if I'm reading into it too much. I could be. But sometimes God stops a storm in your life after he causes the rain and the sunshine so that you can be successful and you can have the life that you want. But you need to be there when the storm opens up. When there's a path that opens up, you need to go. And sometimes you got to storm the beaches of Normandy and take control of your own life and make things happen. But you got to be ready to storm. And I loved that idea. I thought it was really cool. I don't know if God actually played a part, but I'd like to believe he did. And it's just a cool story. I genuinely loved this movie. Like really, really loved it. It would go on my top 10 horror, not horror movies. It would go on my top 10 war movies if I made a top 10 list. Like I really, really loved it. I'm giving it a 9. I might even bump it up to like a 9.1 because it was just bloody damn good.
I see that is where I fall short. I agree with absolutely everything that you just said. I got the same message about God and, you know, giving them the opportunity to go, right?
Yeah.
It definitely feels like God set up this opportunity for them to be a surprise. Uh, when Eisenhower said, you know, we had better meteorologists than they did, real quote, real thing that happened. I agree with all of that. It just comes down to war movies, right? And I think, well, Colin, you're easily going to put Braveheart above this
Number
one,
one.
right?
Yes.
For me, I've got like Midway, Dunkirk. You know, there's just so many war movies to choose from. Uh,
I would have this above Dunkirk, which I know is crazy to you, but I would.
I don't think it's
And I think
crazy.
Dunkirk is a very, very good movie. I really do. I really think Dunkirk's a good movie.
The Patriot.
But I would have there.
You also really
Patriot,
loved Nuremberg, Ministry of
I did.
Ungentlemanly Warfare,
I like this one more.
Saving Private Ryan,
I like this one
Hacksaw
more.
Ridge,
Hacksaw is better.
Grave of Fireflies, The Pianist, 1917,
I like this one better than others.
Gettysburg, Glory, Fury, All Quiet on the Western Front, Pearl Harbor. I'm not saying I'd pick all of these
There's
above
just a
this movie.
lot.
There's just so many. American Sniper is number 51 on this list. I'm not saying all these are better than it because I would put it in the conversation of about where I would put Dunkirk. Right? I don't think that that's crazy to say I would prefer this about Dunkirk because I think that Dunkirk has some downsides, and that is it is so quiet. Now, to me, that enhances the movie, but a lot of people came out and been like, that was just awkward to sit in that kind of silence. Um, so, yeah, there's just so many, right? On this list, Mulan is on here if we're going to take that into consideration too, right? Like, there's so many war movies, there's tons of really good ones. Uh,
That's
to
true.
me, wow, 13 hours has a Metascore of 48. That is insane because I love that movie. That
It's a
is a
great movie.
fantastic, right? Um,
Should be higher than that.
so where would this one fall? I have no idea. Uh, I think we should do this top 10 list so I can actually think about it because I'm genuinely really interested. I don't think that this would make my top 10, but like it is really solid. I will rewatch this one
Mhm.
again. All those performances were really good. Everything Conlon said is completely accurate. I agree 100%. The reason I'm not at a 9 is solely because I'm like, is it as good as those other movies for me? Don't think that it is. Uh, but it is like quality wise, absolutely. Enjoyment wise, my desire to rewatch. No. At this moment in time, would I rather watch this or Dunkirk? Well, Dunkirk, because I haven't seen it as recently. Like that would be the reason if I only had these two movies to choose from. Um, so
Do you like Imitation Game? I don't think we ever talked about it.
I like it okay. I actually think that
Okay.
this one is closer to Imitation Game than Dunkirk. That is a better comparison. Where I'm like, it is really good. Critically, it is absolutely really good. The science, the way that they talk about it, the way what it means for the war, is something you wouldn't think about the invention of the computer being such a big thing. Code breakers, it's something that we talk about. Growing up before Imitation Game, you know what everybody talked about? The Navajo talkers and nothing else.
Yep.
So like again, they gave performances that are phenomenal for that movie, but at the same time, I haven't watched that movie in like 5 years, you know? And I feel like this is going to be about where that is, where it's like, yeah, I'll rewatch it every 5, 6 years, maybe. Um, Nuremberg also came out really recently. I think that that one is far more fascinating and interesting to me personally. Um, so yeah, there's just so many war movies. There's a lot of terrible war movies. Oh,
That's
on
true.
this list, number 98, Unbroken. Freaking phenomenal movie. Um,
Great movie. It
so
wouldn't be in
it's
my
like
top 10, but it's a great movie.
I don't actually know. And we even have one coming out this previous weekend that I'm so excited to watch.
What is it?
Young Washington.
Oh, yeah. I've heard very good things, like very, very good things.
I don't know. Like I'm just like, man, they could do this really, really well. Or they could royally screw this up. I don't know. I've not heard any reviews. I've not watched any trailers, but I am so excited to watch that one.
I literally, so I just went to the movie theater yesterday for Michael, and we came outside, and there was a whole group of military guys that had just watched Young Washington, and they were raving.
Yeah. It
Pretty
I
cool.
really hope it's really good. We're gonna find out. Gonna watch it. But like if it's good, you know, this movie Pressure might not even be the best war movie of the month, much less of the year, right? So uh, we'll see. We will see. It's definitely really
Good.
good. People should watch it. It is utterly fascinating.
100%.
Performances are great. Love supporting Brendan Fraser. Just so many good things about this one for sure.
Yeah. With that, guys, that's going to be our episode. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we will see you next time where we will be watching My Octopus Teacher. See you guys.